why do you have government-funded groups that do that? They want to radicalize everything. They want to make it racial. They want to discredit a movement that's diverse. I mean, 99.9% of us, the banking takeover is bad. And I'm going to get into the latest open announcement of world government, and they are now attempting at the national and international level to pass laws and sign agreements where you will pay tax money directly to private central banks, VAT financial, VAT manufacturing, value added, sales taxes, carbon taxes. It's now all public. IMF, global taxes can only be enforced through global government. Bankers prepare to assault Americans with VAT transaction. Here's the London Guardian breaking it down. Here is the president and CEO of the Texas Banking Association, basically saying exactly what I'm saying, because this is the big mega top 8 banks in the U.S., 14, maybe 15 worldwide, depending on how you class them. They're taking over all their competition that doesn't unfairly create derivatives and then use it to take over the world finance system. So we're going to be going over all of that. And the latest on Obama, denies link and timing of SEC case. He refuses to give back the Goldman Sachs $1 million he was given. Also, millions face tax increase under Democrats' budget plan. Obama suggests value-added tax may be an option. They announced the new $100 bill. Even Vanity Fair says it looks like the euro. So they're getting you ready to recall all the old money and give you the new devalued money. Inflation's way up. They've got numbers here on clothes, food, you name it. Here's AP. Wholesale prices rise in March as food costs jump. So inflation's starting to rear its ugly head. Greek debt crisis gets worse as EU revises figures. That was all engineered by Goldman Sachs, the usual parties who've now been indicted. So we're going to be covering that because it's this banking group, this cartel, who financed Southern Poverty Law Center, the ADL, who financed the training of the FBI and law enforcement through the ADL. But that's the main group that trains them to be political police or commissars, apparatchiks system as the Russians had. So they're involved in this hostile corporate looting and this takeover of society, very draconian, horrible for the average person. I mean, maybe good for 6,000, 7,000 people in the super class, as Rothkopf, who we had on 2 years ago. He wouldn't come on after he was interviewed. Head of the Kissinger group, the Washington Post wrote a big story about it, saying world government's here, and it's run by the 6,000 superclass. So maybe 6,000 people benefit from this. The rest of us certainly don't, and it's completely illegal. So we're here peacefully as citizens with a First Amendment talking about this, as is our right, and we say, hey, we don't want your government health care. Oh, you're a racist. Hey, the insurance companies wrote this, as Ron Paul and Lord Mockton and others are saying. Not just me saying that, I've read the bill. So, see, it's not just some socialism for poor. No, it cuts the benefits, raises taxes, and makes you buy insurance from these insurance companies. They lower the standard of care. You come out against that, they invoke racism all over the news, all over newspapers, and say, you are a racist, you hate black people. See, they don't want blacks and Hispanics and Asians joining the populist, peaceful uprising to restore the republic. And so they want to use racial politics to divide us. I mean, that is so criminal. That is so dastardly. That is so horrible. That is so racist and balkanizing in its very nature. So the American people can't get together. They're caught again provocateuring events. They're caught staging all these events. And one of their biggest tactics, and I've had to hire moderators, and I've had to go to registration on InfoWars and Prison Planet just to try to stop this. You can go to YouTube, Google, Yahoo, any big newspaper website that's got comments, and there's calls for violence, and usually it's government provocateurs trying to single people out, and it's come out in court thousands of times that they are doing this. But there are some nuts out there. And what the London Guardian and the New York Times and Time Magazine and the Southern Poverty Law Center and all of George Soros's publications, Media Matters, Huffington Post, I mean, literally, it's got to be more than 100 that just in the last 6 months have said, I'm calling for killing police. They say, falsely, they say, I'm calling for killing IRS agents. They say, I'm calling for violent overthrow of the government. And anyone who's listened or seen my films knows it's the opposite. And they're saying that we are change, who's Mahatma Gandhi, nonviolence is their poster person. I mean, that's who they have up on their website when you enter the site. So it's just a complete hoax. The American people not wanting to go into debt servitude are not racist. That's a hoax. These claims that people criticizing government corruption are going to cause federal buildings to be blown up is a hoax, and it will be elements of the government or private intelligence agencies that will carry out these attacks. And I've been telling you the last year and intensely the last 3.5 months that this would happen in April or May, that they're building towards a crescendo. And now I've got every day CNN, Nightline, PBS. I mean, the phone is ringing off the hook. They want to come interview me, and they ask me, am I causing terrorism? Am I a terrorist? Do I feel bad about violence? Setting me up for a fall. To the point of I'm not even calling these people back most of the time. Just because I don't even want to be around them. And I don't care about being on their national television. So all of that said, that backstory there for you, we have this ADL report out today. Now, 2 days ago, Southern Poverty Law Center said myself, Ron Paul, Andrew Napolitano are, quote, extremist, terrorist enablers. So now they're going after Ron Paul, folks. I mean, couldn't be more peaceful, more genteel. The elder statesman, former federal judge Napolitano, couldn't be a better guy. They're going after him because they're getting ready to stage events and blame it on the American people. Well, now the ADL has come out and has found mild statements on prisonplanet.com like, my gosh, when are the American people going to riot like they did in Kyrgyzstan? And then they imply that I'm pushing this, I'm doing this, and they say, quote, major law enforcement operation is needed against us because we are advocating for the overthrow of the country. I mean, think about that. You've got these groups who are demonizing anyone that criticizes the government, anyone that criticizes health care, and they're now moving into saying we need to call the police on these people. Within 3 hours of Joe Stack flying his plane into that building, supposedly, a lot of questions there, it was in the Austin American-Statesman, New York Daily News, with headlines about web praises attack, internet praises attack. And then they just said in there, very deceptively, by mixing me into other website comments from other websites, that I was for it. And I said, this is to sick law enforcement on me, because we're hurting them badly. And they'll go show this to cops and say, we got to get him, plant pipe bombs on him, and we know cops will do that. I mean, there's no, I say pipe bombs because half the time, that's how they get you. They just bury something on your property. And so ADL calls for major law enforcement operation to deal with Obamacare critics. Attack group mixes in completely nonviolent internet postings from our websites with death threats from other sites in new purge against internet dissent. And then that dovetails with DHS boss says Tea Party will engage in violence. Napolitano, the bad Napolitano, not the good Napolitano. But we'll talk about where this is going on the other side of this quick break. Stay